guys, welcome back to the channel. You already know who it is. It's Ronton from Wrench-a-holics, and today we're back in the lab. I got the rooster over there doing his thing. I got the gardeners over here blowing up a storm, but you just gotta ignore the outside noises. But anyways, we're back in the lab, and today we're gonna go over this week's weekly vlog. So let's just get to it. So a lot of you guys have been DMing me on how I did the DIY sequential turn signals on the 240 coupe. I went ahead and did a video on it. At the time when I bought all the parts for it, I think it cost me under 30 bucks with current pricing. I don't know if it's gone up or down. I'm not too sure. But you're going to need a LED sequential turn signal and a new flasher relay. So I went ahead and did that. It's a DIY, so it's kind of a mod too. So you got to get creative with the taillight housing and how to make it fit. So if you're not into that, this may not be for you. But if you are, then you know you can jazz up the exterior and make your car look a little bit more modern by adding some sequential turn signals. I mean, I like them, that's why I did them. But hey, my build, my coupe, doesn't matter what I do. Anyways, we did that, and it came out fairly well. So go ahead and peep out the video for the next coming videos, since I'm gonna have to do the edits on that. And we also did a review on the Club Street Hate floor mats. I just recently got those floor mats. Again, if you're following me on Instagram, you would know that I got them. If you're not following me on Instagram, link is in the descriptions below. Go ahead and follow me. If you know, you know, and if you don't, get at me. But anyways, we did a review on it, as most of you guys are trying to, you know, increase the look and just mod the interior of your cars. So I went ahead and bought the floor mats from them a while back, installed them. It's fairly simple. It's like you just put new floor mats in. But anyways, as far as quality goes, we did a review on it, and I would imagine that the review on these floor mats would cover, if not all, of the small businesses out there who are making universal non-specific car floor mats, that this would cover that. So peep that out. It'll be in the next video as well after I upload this weekly vlog video. But for today, we got a little bit of a mishap on the 240 yet again. The 240 doing 240 things. You fix one thing, 5 other things break. But yeah, so I've been having this cooling issue again. It's like a reoccurrent issue. I don't know what it is. But all of a sudden my upper temp sensor was reading 250 within 5 minutes of me turning on the car. So I know something was going on. I swapped sensors out. It's still doing it. So lead me to believe that it's not the sensor and it could be something else. Went down the line, you know, probably air bubbles in the coolant system. I bled the car for an hour. With the no spill funnel, allowing coolant to circulate with the, obviously with the cap off, and still I couldn't get it out. I don't know if the bubble's there or whatever, because I'm still reading 250 on the upper and like 176 on the lower. So I don't know what's going on. So we're gonna go ahead and figure that out. But with my inspection today, I found the leak. It's not really a leak where you would notice, because apparently I thought that I didn't have a leak, because when I did the whole process of cooling or burping the system, excuse me, and letting the car sit for a week, I would have imagined I would already have coolant on the ground. The ground is dry as hell, so I said, hey, no leak. But I shouldn't keep my expectations high. I got a leak, and it's in like an unsuspected area, but I've already had a leak there before, so I don't know what's going on. I don't know if the clamps got loose or whatever, but let me show you where the leak is at. Alright, so we're on the cold side. As you can see, that's the fuel rail and everything, and there you go, that right there. You see the little green shit right there? I don't know how I'm getting it, but I'm getting a leak somewhere, and I don't know what to do. I've tried inspecting all the clamps and the tubing that run in between the runners right here for the heater core. They look dry, so I don't know what's going on. So upon further inspection, I think what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to take the upper intake manifold here, the runners. I'm gonna have to take that off. As you can see, I already started, and we're gonna go see if we can actually track down where the hell this leak is coming from, because it's really annoying. And I finally got the car to where I wanted it, and now we got to deal with this bullshit again. So anyways, I've already started. I already took off the fuel lines. One right here, I already loosened up the one over there, and that's pretty much it. I started taking off the injector, harness. I took the grounds off. There's a couple more grounds in the back of the intake manifold, and we're just gonna go from there. As a side note, if you guys are looking to make your life a lot easier if this were to happen, because you know you still have that coolant passage running in. Damn, it smells like gas. Oh shit, it's leaking from here. Anyways, again, as mentioned before, the heater core supply for coolant runs directly through the intake runners and obviously into the firewall. So the issue with that being is that in order for you to get to it, to take the, to check the clamps, you have to take the entire intake manifold off. So you got the upper and the lower. If you did it the way how I did it, you can basically separate just the upper, making your life a lot easier, and then just leaving the bottom part braced up using this brace right here. It's kind of dark, but using this brace, it's actually holding this piece up. So with that being said, if you did it the way I did it, again, it'll make your life a lot easier. So what I did was, I believe on the intake manifold here, on the actual part, this is called the collector here. So this is the bottom piece that connects to the throttle body. This bolt right here and the furthest bolt right there are actually studs. So with that being said, you have a stud on the block and then you'll have a stud on the collector. What ends up happening, they cancel each other out. So if you do try to take everything off, you cannot pull the intake manifold this way due to the fact that you got a vertical stud holding you back, and then you can't pull the intake manifold straight up because you have a horizontal stud blocking you out. So with that being said, I changed those studs into bolts. I just took the studs out, and now I'm able to remove and disconnect the upper intake manifold completely from the lower collector, and actually just take this entire top piece off without having to worry about anything. Obviously you have to release some stuff, so obviously the fuel line's got to go because it's hooked up to the actual fuel rail. If you have obviously any lines going to the fuel pressure regulator, that's got to go because it's hooked up. So I'm going to be taking this off pretty soon, as well as any grounds for the harness. You got to take that off. Injector harnesses, those got to go. And also I believe like this little vacuum PVC deal, you just have to disconnect it from either end, because you just have to be able to remove the intake manifold. So with that being said, that's going to be the best way to do it. I don't want to say the best way, but that's going to be the easiest way to do it with less amount of work. That's the reason why I changed those bolts. So pro tip, if you want to do it that way, take those studs out and change in the bolts. If you don't know how to do the double nut technique where you stack the nuts on and you're able to extract the stud, look it up online. It's fairly simple. But again, if you want to make your life easier, do it that way. By doing that way, you're gonna have to buy yourself some new gaskets. So fortunately, I was collecting gaskets when I wanted to rebuild the engine. So I do have a brand new thermal intake manifold gasket, and then I also have an OEM collector gasket that I just picked up yesterday from the homie who hooked it up heavy. So that saved me a lot of turnaround time, as I didn't want to order it and have issues with that gasket coming in. So we already have that on deck. So all we got to do now is just take it off and go from there. So with that being said, let's just get to it. So just an update, we're still continuing disassembling and taking off stuff that allows me to get this intake, the upper runners off easy. So we went ahead and took off the fuel line. So I don't know, I like to work smarter, not harder. So I don't want to clean up a lot of mess if I don't have to. So with that being said, especially I don't want gasoline everywhere, so that's the main thing. Whenever I take off these fuel lines, I like to put a bolt and then reuse the clamp and clamp on the bolt so that, you know, gas doesn't get everywhere, just because it smells. But I like to do that again. So you know, you want to work smarter, not harder. So every time I do this, I always do that. It's also a good thing to also have some of these like vacuum caps. I just get these from AutoZone. I get like a variety pack, and I end up just using the caps to cap off, obviously. So I'm capping off the fuel rail here. I'm also capping off, if you can't really see it, but I'm capping off the fuel right here. I don't know if it's the return, I forget, but I'm just capping them off so that when I take the manifold off, I don't smell gas as far as because gas is leaking out of these unplugged connectors. So we're just gonna keep on going. So just to keep that as a tip, or keep that in mind if you guys are planning on doing it. You know, work smart. You know, you don't have to have gasoline just leaking everywhere. So there is a proper procedure on how to depressurize the gas tank. So when you are messing with fuel, there is a proper procedure on how to do it. It is in the FSM. If you guys don't have an FSM, I highly suggest you guys get one if you are working on this Jurassic of an engine. I think there are numerous sources out there that have the factory service manual available for download. So if you can get your hands on it, go ahead and download it. There is a tricky part though. I think the SR red top only came in Japanese, so if you can read Japanese, it's good for you. If you can't, you're kind of assed out. But the S14 SR factory service manual is in English, so some of the parts do cross over. You just got to use your brain a little bit, but some of the parts do cross over. For the most part, it is the same as a red top. Again, I understand there's a difference, VTC, non-VTC, so on and so forth, but the majority of the procedures are still the same, as far as, like, you know, removing or depressurizing the system. That's common between both engines, so no brainer. But I did that procedure before I even started, you know, just so that you can be clear. But with that being said, we're just gonna keep going. I think I still need to remove the throttle cable bracket off. I already loosened that, so I gotta take that bad boy off. And I believe the vacuum for the IVAC is non-related to the upper, except for, like, you know, the little bracing here. So we just gotta take those off, and I believe I can take this upper runner off once I get to removing the portion where it bolts up to the head. So all the nuts and the bolts gotta come out, and we'll just keep going from there. So alright guys, so I believe I got everything off as far as the stuff that is mounted onto the intake manifold. So now the only thing I have left now is to actually remove the intake runners off of the car via the bolts connecting to the block, and also the bolts connecting to the lower collector here. So I believe they're 12s, so we're just gonna go ahead and get to it. Fairly simple. Again, if you are removing anything on your engine, you always want to start from the outside and work in, and then when you install anything back on, you always want to start from the center and work your way out. So with that being said, we're going to be doing that. That's just what the factory service manual says, and that's what we're going to do. Unfortunately, the fuel rail has to move a little bit in order to get to the last bolt that connects to the lower collector here, and then once you take that off, then everything is good to go. Just be careful when you remove the fuel rail, because the donuts that go into the intake manifold, sorry, they like to get lost. And on top of that, there are 1, 2, 3, 4 little plastic spacers that you tend to lose if you don't keep track, and you don't want to lose them. So 1, 2, 3, 4 plastic spacers, and then 4 of the rubber donuts. The rubber donuts, not so much. They end up sort of sticking onto the injector anyway. It's these plastic spacers here that you don't want to lose. So just be careful, be mindful when you do that. So try to work smart and not in a rush. So these are the ones that you don't want to lose. So I tend to work one bolt at a time and just, you know, catching this plastic insulator or spacer, you want to call it, out so that I don't lose it. Alright, just so that you guys are aware, whenever you take these out, be careful not to smash your injectors onto anything, because you do have these little plastic pencil caps is what they're called, and they get really brittle over time when you run your car due to the heat cycle. So whenever you just place it, I would suggest you just place it somewhere where it's not going to smash up the pencil caps or mess up your injector connector here. So just be very careful. But that's pretty much it. That is your fuel rail. Now we just go ahead and take out the intake runner. Alright, so we took off everything. Fuel rail had to come out just because I had to get to the bolt again on the lower collector here. So in order for me to get to it, I had to take out the fuel rail because the metal hard line was running into this crevice here and I couldn't get my socket in there. Everything is now removed. The nuts and the bolts from the upper, which is the head part, and the lower from the collector are all gone. Bracket to the throttle cable is loose. All the brackets are loose except for one more. I missed one. I believe that's a 12. As you can see, when I did that, I already moved the intake manifold, so the manifold is good to go. It's pretty much loose. Keep track of your bolts. You don't want to lose them. So now we take off the intake manifold. So let's get that out the way. So again, the reason why I'm doing this is because I found that leak in that little pocket area right here, and I don't know exactly where it's coming from. Again, I've had that leak before, but it was due to a clamp getting loose. So best case scenario, it's that damn clamp again that got loose. Worst case scenario, I don't even want to talk about it, but let's see what's up, because it's frustrating that I have to do this yet again. Go. Intake manifold, upper runners off. Being careful to not lose those rubber donuts again, because you're gonna have some issues if you lose that rubber donut due to the fact that you need it for the injectors. Just doing an inspection on the runner here. I got some oil buildup. The valve looks pretty dry. That's good. Probably got a little bit of gas in there. I can smell it, but we're doing pretty good. So far so good. Now time to do the inspection, figure out where the hell this leak is coming from. Because it's super annoying. I can see it. I'm going to get you guys off the tripod and show you. Also, the reason why I want to do it this way is because it's a lot easier to see what the hell I'm doing. Now that I don't have a lot of stuff in my way. I do feel like I have to take off a little bit more in order to see, but I'm hoping I don't. But let's just go ahead and tackle this one thing at a time. Now that you got the head exposed, lower collector exposed, I highly recommend you like shoving stuff into the orifices here, just because you don't want anything to fall in there like a nut or a bolt. That's gonna really ruin your day. So take the precautions now, and just again work smarter and not harder. So there you guys go. The threading look pretty good, thank God. I mean, it's more or less the exhaust side is what has the problem with the threads being stripped, but normally not on the cold side. It's the hot side. But we're looking pretty good. So, all right, now time to find this freaking leak, and hopefully it's nothing crazy, because that'll ruin the day super quick. But let's get to it. Alright guys, so that is a wrap on today's weekly vlog. Go ahead and keep an eye out for the DIY install of the sequential turn signals on the 240, as well as the Club Street Hate floor mat, universal floor mat review that I did. And just to keep you guys posted on what we've been doing, went ahead and removed the upper intake manifold, or the intake runners, off of the car. And there it is. Pro tip, just so you guys don't lose anything, or basically when you're all done you have an extra bolt or whatever hanging around. Wherever the nuts and the bolts belong, I placed them back so that I won't get confused on where I put them, as well as I did that also on the intake runners. So I went ahead and put all the fuel rail stuff, you know, the nuts that hold the bracket down for the throttle cable, and the grounds and all that. Keep them where they belong so that you don't forget, and you'll never have that issue of having extra bolts at the end of your procedure, or missing a bolt and then you're like, damn, where's that bolt at? So go ahead and put them back where they belong, and you'll never have that issue. Alright guys, that is a wrap. Thank you guys for watching this week's weekly vlog. Go ahead and stay tuned. Keep your eyes peeled for the Club Street Hate floor mat review, as well as the DIY sequential turn signal install. Went ahead and just made sure, if you guys ordered stuff from me, the air fresheners are coming in today per what UPS said. By the time this video does get uploaded, I'm already going to be packing those air fresheners. If you guys ordered a bundle where you ordered an air freshener with a keychain or a flight tag, I gotta wait until those come in. There was a hiccup in production. There was like a 2-day delay. The machine broke. So, sort of have to wait for those to come in order for me to ship out your product for shipping reasons. But I'm trying to do my best to get everything out. Thank you guys for the guys who pre-ordered from me. Means a lot, showing the support for the channel, and as well as hopefully the brand. Thank you guys again. I couldn't do it without you. Thank you guys for the day ones who stuck out there with me since day one, 2016 I believe. And thank you guys for the new followers who found me randomly on YouTube. Greatly appreciate it. And for the guys out there and my day ones out there, you already know what time it is. Hype for the moment and style is forever. Deuces.